From Princeton, New Jersey, in front of America's oldest local bike store, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, what's actually the best bit of cycling? We need your help to find out.
We also have a new bucket list ride, a video message from Chris Froome, and the most extreme corner ever.
This week in the world of cycling, we learned that the young Colombian sensation Egan Bernal is also the king of Italy. He won the Giro emphatically, although not without a tense final few days.
Yep, second place went to Damiano Caruso, a rider who has spent most of his career as a super domestique. But on the penultimate stage, he really stole the limelight with an epic ride, which saw him net a stage win and take some time back on a defensive Bernal.
Yeah, we also learned this week that cycling's first NFT, or non-fungible token, which was an artwork of a Colnago C64, has sold incredibly for $2,000 more than the real thing, an actual bike.
We live in a strange world, Si. A picture of a Colnago C64 selling for more than a Colnago C64.
Crazy, isn't it? A strange world indeed, Connor, and it might be about to get even weirder. Okay, we need your help to decide something. So I went for a ride at the weekend. It was an amazing ride. I was on my road bike. The weather was finally nice. Finally. In fact, more than nice. It was amazing. I had the world to myself. As I was cruising around, I started thinking about what the best bits of my ride were. Now, was it the sun on my back or the sections of super smooth tarmac where I had a simultaneous tailwind? Or was it the bits that kind of hurt, like riding up climbs, which hurt, or sprinting up little ramps and hurting my legs, or when I was tired at the end and I was still pressing on despite the fact that my legs were screaming? I don't know.
Pleasure or pain? Which is actually the best bit about cycling? Sounds like a stupid question, but if I'm honest, the more you think about it, the harder it is to answer. I mean, there's some parts of cycling which are just crap, aren't they? I mean, no one likes numb fingers, cold feet, cold head, cold ears. I mean, I could go on.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that being, perfectly warm is better than being cold. But what about the other things, like going downhill? The pleasure of going downhill, is that better than the pain of going uphill?
See, I don't think it is.
No?
No, so I'll tell you why. I think riding up hills is more memorable than riding down them. So I can't remember much, for example, about the descent off Alpe d'Huez, but I can remember a lot about riding up it. Although that really hurt, I perhaps should move to reassure the viewers at this point, Connor. This pleasure versus pain conundrum is restricted only to cycling in my life. It doesn't extend to other areas. It's peculiar to endurance sports, isn't it?
Okay, so
Yeah.
Glad of that.
Good.
Anyway, back to cycling, and my most memorable races and bike rides in terms of pain and pleasure, I think, it's got to be in like the really, really hard races, because when you're really suffering, it's not for the whole race. You do have these brief moments where you get over that climb in the front group, or you survive a real tough moment in the race, and then you have these amazing descents. And I prefer the descent once you've achieved something. So once you've kind of got over that pain, gone through the barrier, you accomplish something, and then you're allowed to enjoy these sweeping descents, and you feel like you're in the group, you've made it. I think that, for me, is the best bit about cycling. It's also priceless, you can't recreate that. Same about being a breakaway, I think. That's why I loved being in a breakaway, because it was so painful to get there. But once you were there, that was just a completely unique moment which you couldn't recreate anywhere else. And you were there, you were ahead of the race, you were the hound being chased by, you were the fox being chased by the hounds. It just felt like you were in this priceless moment. It was an incredible feeling, which, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I do totally get your point, Connor. I completely get it. But I think it's kind of more than that. Cycling starts to make sense when actually the painful bits become the pleasurable bits. That's when you reach cycling nirvana. It's what unites us all. That's why we end up pushing ourselves harder, isn't it? Why we do longer rides and faster rides, and we climb ever higher hills and mountains. Yeah, the pain is there, but that's kind of why we do it, right?
I don't know though, Si, because I think you need a mix, because if pain really was the best bit about cycling, then why not cut out the pleasure entirely and just sit on a trainer, stare at a blank wall, and ride at threshold for hours and hours on end until your dad says it's time for tea.
Yeah. I do remember those times, Connor, in the world before Zwift smart trainers, and I have no wish to go back. So that is a valid point. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is the mix, the unique mix of pleasure and pain that makes cycling so good.
Well, that is where you lot come in, because we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments section below what you think. Is pain the best bit about cycling, or maybe pleasure, or in Hank's case, taking selfies?
True that. Not cycling at all, just standing next to a bike. He's like a proper influencer, isn't he? Right then, now, a couple of weeks ago, we launched a competition where you could win one of 2 Hammerhead Karoo 2 head units. Remember that? Oh, yeah.
And we have the competition winners right for you now, with a little message from Chris Froome to announce them. No less.
Froome?
Thanks, guys. Hopefully I can do a better job at pronouncing the winners' names than you guys normally do. Okay, ready? Here we go. We've got Walter Tsui from the USA and Ari Stofflem from Belgium. Congratulations. You've both won yourselves a Hammerhead Karoo 2 head unit. Those will be on their way to you shortly. And by the way, Sai, it's great to hear you're also a big fan of Phil Collins, right? I've got to race to Dauphiné, so that's me, over and out. Take care, guys.
What a legend.
Chris, we'll talk about Carly Rae Jepsen another day.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Best of luck for the rest of the Dauphiné, Chris. He's not quite got his legs back yet, has he? Which I was gutted. I thought it'd be next level on at the Dauphiné, but
I mean, if anyone can, Chris Froome can. We believe in you, Chris.
That is true, actually, and that'll be an inspirational story when he does get back to the top, won't it? So, yeah, fingers crossed. You might be wondering why Chris Froome is reading out the names of our competition winners, by the way. Reason being, he has invested in Hammerhead, which is cool. So not only will he be reading out competition winners for them, but he will also be on the board and, I gather, involved in product development too. So that's an exciting development.
He's not an investor of disc brakes, though.
He's not an investor of disc brakes. No, he's really not.
Sitting on that board. Anyway, we have some exciting films coming up this week on GCN Plus, including Fully Charged, the rise of the e-bike, where Steve Jones of EMBN tries to convince Sai that e-bikes are actually good. And, well, I heard that Sai spent the whole day getting his ass kicked.
I did. You know, the reason why I remained to be convinced about e-bikes is basically that pleasure-pain thing. I thought, you basically get all the pleasure of cycling and none of the pain, therefore it would be a hollow experience.
You sure you're still talking about cycling here, Si?
No, I am still talking about cycling. Yeah, anyway, check out the doc and you'll see a little bit more.
I'm getting a little bit worried.
It's time now for GCN Inspiration, that part of the show where we pick out 3 of the very best pictures or videos that you've uploaded to the GCN app over the last week that inspire us to get out and ride. Starting with 3rd place this week, Connor.
Yep, and the winner of some Stripes Socks Italy is R.A. Hargrave with a beautiful pic of Blackner Bar. Moody skies over Blackner Bar. Just about managed to get a photo in before the 200 camper vans and tourists descended on the climb.
There we go. It's an epic shot, that, and it's a particularly epic place. Any viewers in the UK, that I believe is your longest uninterrupted road climb. I think I'm going to be corrected now, but it is a proper epic. It's like like 7 or something K long. It's amazing. So yeah, that's super cool. Right, 2nd place this week, winning a GCN Italian T-shirt in navy blue and a core black T-shirt is this photo from Hubbard. That's cool, isn't it? Just your perfect gravel shot. He or she said, we were up at about 4,000 feet of elevation, halfway through a 50-mile gravel ride when the sky, which had been getting more and more threatening as we climbed, finally opened up. I'm not the most confident gravel rider, but maybe I was more scared of riding a steel bike down a ridgeline in a thunderstorm because we ripped this descent. But yeah, that is cool, isn't it?
Does look nice. You can almost smell the trees in that photo. That's my favourite bit about being in the forest.
Do you go and sniff trees?
I do. I actually have a very strong sense of smell, which I think I've inherited from my mother.
Really?
But yeah, I do like to smell the forest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of a woodsy smell as well. But yeah, no, I am. Yeah. You know, apparently that's one of the most evocative senses we've got. Your sense of smell is like better for memories than any other.
Yeah, I do like that. When you smell something, you memorise it. Anyway, I'm kind of moving on a little bit.
Embrocation takes me back, mate.
Oh, that does. Yeah, that is a
Smell of
strong smell to
embrocation,
remember that.
Anyway, we'll move swiftly on.
First place and winner of the Stelvio Pass t-shirt and classic GCN sweatshirt, black and white, plus a PBC book,
Plant-based
cyclist, is Florida Jeff. Everyone knows Florida Jeff.
They do indeed, yeah. Look at this.
I have lost 100 pounds and cycling has changed my life, and now I ride 80 miles a week and complete full century rides every other month on my Trek Domani.
How cool is that?
Well done, Jeff.
Fair play, Florida Jeff. You are looking good, my friend.
Love the jersey as well, the palm tree jersey. Fits in with the scenery.
Yeah, that's very cool, actually, isn't it?
It is.
Nice, I like that. Right, if you think that you were in with a shout at winning, actually, scrap that. No matter what you think, upload your inspirational photos onto the GCN app because we love looking through them. Plus, 3 of you will, of course, be winning prizes next week right here on the GCN Show too.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we're going to start by offering you a little bit of help, just in case you weren't entirely sure what to do with your summer this year.
And it had better be a long summer because Komoot have just launched their European Divide Trail, all 7,600 kilometres of it, starting in Norway in Grense Jakobsfjord and finishing in Cabo St Vincent in Portugal.
Yeah, and it's predominantly off-road. Sounds utterly incredible. I don't think I'm going to get to do it in one hit, Connor, so I was thinking maybe if I did a week of it every year, I might be finished in a decade or so. I was trying to work it out, 10 weeks maybe?
Or you could just devote more time to it, Si, and actually enjoy it.
Yeah, we've already talked about this. You could, or you could just do it in 10 weeks, smash it out in like this sort of haze of painful pleasure, and it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
But what about, the rivers, the picnics on the river banks? I'm talking a lot about rivers, but also, berry picking, there's views of cliff tops, nice, sweeping roads, maybe take a deviation and go to a museum, an art gallery perhaps.
Yeah, fair enough, but you could just ride along and then sniff, couldn't you? I've heard Scandinavia smells particularly good at this time of year, Connor. So
that's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
I would like sniffing. More news though, and Colnago have just announced that they're going to be the first ever bike partner at the Tour de France, and they've released 108 V3 RS Tour de France editions to celebrate it.
That is cool, isn't it? First official bike, you'd assume, since all Tour de France riders had to use exactly the same bikes.
That's true, actually.
Anyway, we digress. We also shouldn't get too caught up in amazing shiny Colnagos this week, Connor, and forget that cycling itself is just a simple pleasure or pain. But for a timely reminder, Road CC wrote this week about how the legendary Queen guitarist Brian May felt that cycling saved his life last year after he had a heart attack. Apparently, he said on a podcast, "When I'm in pain, which I am a lot, getting on the bike I find makes me feel human again. I'm finding life hard right now, this whole lockdown thing. I find the physical stuff is what gets me through," which is kind of like, it's quite inspirational, I think, to hear from a person like that. And yeah, I kind of agree.
Apparently it was cycling and gardening.
Yeah, quite similar at times, aren't they? You ever go on those bike rides where you just feel like you're digging a massive hole?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
Those as well. But anyway, some interesting news from the Giro d'Italia, because Peter Sagan took a stage win and the points jersey added to his 7 green jerseys at the Tour de France. But it has emerged that he was fined by the race commissaires, basically the race referees, for intimidation during one stage.
Yeah, now that is intriguing, isn't it? It's a sanction I've not heard of before, really. I can kind of imagine it happening though. So apparently, rumour has it that he was sort of throwing his weight around on the front of the peloton at the start of a stage whilst the early break was forming, basically trying to make sure that the riders in the break weren't going to threaten his lead in the jersey competition. But still, a fine for it makes it sound quite ominous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's strange. I've never heard of intimidation during a race.
No.
I imagine it, though, Si, that maybe the commissaires are giving him a bit of a ticking off during the race, and he said a naughty word back at them, and they've got the hump.
You reckon it was the commissaires he intimidated?
I think so, yeah.
I reckon it was a rider. I reckon the break formed and then someone else attacks and he wasn't happy, so he chased them down and then came up alongside them and was like, giving them the elbow, intimidating them physically.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's never happened to you, Connor, unsurprisingly. Happened to me once or twice.
Yeah,
back in the day.
I can't remember a situation.
No, maybe not.
Now, Pride Month starts today. The month of June is to celebrate LGBTQT plus communities around the world. Now, June was chosen as this month because in 1969, the Stonewall riots changed the face of gay rights for many around the world.
They did. Now, cycling, some aspects of cycling anyway, particularly men's pro cycling, seems to be a little bit still stuck in the dark ages, but it's definitely not all bad, not by a long shot. Zwift, for example, are running a series of events and group rides this month to celebrate Pride. Many of their events will be led by prominent members of the LGBTQT cycling community.
Yeah, called Pride On. There'll be celebratory Pride On rides, and also the thumbs up on Zwift will be getting a customised Pride makeover.
There's also a Pride On kit as well, which looks super cool. To get your hands on that, you need to take part in one of the events, and that should unlock it for you. Now, some sad news, unfortunately, to finish cycling shorts with. Nick Brownbill got in touch with us in the comment section last week to bring our attention to the Eureka Cycling Cafe, which is up in the northwest of England and has been serving cyclists for 92 years, but will sadly be closing its doors this month.
92 years, that is an incredible amount of time. I mean, congratulations to everyone involved for serving the cycling community in your local area for so long. Really incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sad news, but also something really amazing as well. But it did get us thinking, if you have a similar story of an amazing cycling hub or community enterprise, then do let us know, because we'd love to give them a shout out in the GCN Show.
Okay, right, you know what time it is now. It is hack/Bodge.
Controversial. Right, we're going to start. Last week, the 3D printed zip ties caused quite a stir, in part due to the fact that I basically had a meltdown on camera. Chris Aldrich thinks we should go one step further. Someone needs to 3D print a chain catcher and hold it in place with 3D printed zip ties. The size mine will explode on camera. Well, good thinking, Chris, but no, because that, despite being 3D printed, oh man, actually, hang on a minute. I had it all worked out in my head, Connor, because chain catchers are always Bodges, zip ties are Bodges, but then they're both the 3D printed, and now just.
Okay, guys, I think I better take it from here because Si's just having a little bit of a moment. We'll let him recover. I know this is quite a moment for you to comprehend. So I'll do the first hack or bodge, and high-tech alternative to new gloves.
Wow.
This has been sent in by Westwood Lands, and well, I think they're pretty incredible. I mean,
they are, yeah. My wife, thought that she would use old wool for a recycled pair of gloves, not a 3D printer in sight. There we go.
There you go, Si. I mean, and that's quite comforting for you as well, because at least with these gloves, that's the left hand, that's the right hand. There's no, deep philosophical debates to consider.
No, that's true, actually. Left, right, brilliant. Does what it says on the tin.
I'm going to go hack.
Yeah, I'm going to go hack. I mean, as you said earlier, nothing worse than cold hands on a ride.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly.
No pleasure in that at all. 60% of you thought that was a hack too. So well done. Right, next up, we've got this one from Ollie Springs. Sketchy in a crosswind, he said. This was recently sent around on our club WhatsApp group by someone who had to collect a pallet, reason unknown, and had no other form of transport. Look at that. You know what? Transporting ridiculous objects by bicycle, I think, is something that should be celebrated, Connor, even
definitely.
if it might lead to serious injury.
Definitely. I think that's a hack from me for that reason, but it is a little bit sketchy. I want to know how they managed to secure it upright like that.
Bungees.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive in itself, just securing it.
Yeah. You know what, right? Bungees and zip ties are quite similar, except for the fact that no one ever uses a bungee as like a permanent solution, whereas zip ties often are. That's the problem with them. Anyway, only 31% of people said that was a hack.
Yeah, surprising, really.
I thought that was a hack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with most of you. Right, who's next, Connor?
So next up we have CHI Pritchie, and this is
Chip Ritchie, maybe?
Chip Ritchie. Sorry, Chip Ritchie. Now, next up we have a hair tie, Bodge.
Oh, nice.
So they have put a hair tie on their Campanolo shifter because the shifter actually broke mid-ride and they didn't have a rubber band. And apparently Chip Ritchie doesn't have much hair himself, so he waved down a friend for a hair tie, which is very, convenient. A friend managed to pass with a hair tie just the right way.
Maybe they're riding with Ollie Bridgewood.
That's true.
Pretty sure he's got a selection of hair devices.
Multicoloured
these days.
ones.
Yeah, blatantly. I like that. That's a definition of a roadside hack for me.
Yeah, it is. It is. Simple yet effective.
Indeed.
Hack from me.
Hack from me too. Right then, and 79% of you lot said that was a hack too.
Yeah.
Next up, this one. It's a classic. I've not seen it for a while, but thank you very much, Jay Fulden, for sending it in. Out of tubes, tie a knot in it. Yes, find the hole, tie a knot over the top of it, and pump it up. And actually, it's not as bad to ride as you might think. So definitely preferable to stuffing your grass, stuffing your tyre with grass.
I'm going to admit something as a GCN presenter. I've never heard of this.
Have you not?
I've never come across that. I haven't even considered it. I think because my dad taught me how to fix a puncture when I was about 5 or whenever I can't remember. But he was always very delicate with the inner tube.
Yeah.
That doesn't strike me as delicate, so it's an anti.
Well, this is a get you home bodge.
It is, yeah.
So like 100%, this is when you run out of tubes and, well, maybe you haven't got a puncture repair kit because I don't take one.
Happens to us all.
It does. But yeah, this is great. I like it. Weirdly, 41% of you thought that was a bodge. But remember it next time you get stuck without any inner tubes and you're contemplating, calling a taxi or something.
Yeah, or riding the rim.
Yeah, don't do that. Tie a knot in it. Yeah, well done. Next up, this one from Pavel Lartsin.
Pavel Lartsin.
There you go. 3D printed hack cable routing clamps. I made some different types of clamps for full-length closed cable housing, which I modernise old frames with. Brilliant. Could have used a zip tie, didn't. Went for 3D printed clamp option, which is great.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll admit it on this one. That is a hack compared to a zip tie.
absolutely. 90% of you lot thought that was a hack as well.
Yeah.
So brilliant.
Fair one.
Brilliant work.
Next up, we have, well, this is an interesting one, sent in by A-L-I-H.
Ali?
Sorry, we are Ali. Ali H. That makes sense. So we have a Cambodian utility bike with disc brake upgrades.
Oh my word.
This is incredible. I like this. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, how am I going to get my hands on a Cambodian utility bike? And I was thinking, where did they pick this up in the UK? But they found it in Cambodia in a bike shop.
Funny that, Cambodian utility bike.
Yeah, I'm
Being
a
in
little bit
Cambodia.
disappointed, but
Do be careful bodging disc brakes onto bikes that aren't designed for them. It will basically tear your forks in half and the back end. I know that sounds like a bit of a boring killjoy thing to say, but just, even if you've got a welder, just don't. And unsurprisingly, perhaps 39% of you lot said that was a hack, so 61% bodge. Right.
sketchy bodge.
Lastly, for this week, how cool is this? Big screen GCN Plus automatic hack. That looks like a good pain cave setup. You've got Watt Bike Atom there and a very attractive looking Marcel Kittel on the big screen. Rest Day GCN Plus projected via an Apple box. Didn't know that there was an Apple box, but there you go.
There you go. Big hack, 89% hack. Fair play. I want to know how they got the green, around the screen.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Is that how modern TVs they come with? That sort of lighting these days?
Don't know, mate. I wouldn't know.
Neither would I. Sorry.
We go downstairs. They've got a massive TV down in the
yeah, that's true.
breakaway studio. We'll go and have a look.
Well, there we go. Hack or bodge. Next week, get voting, and we'll be back to hack or bodge them.
Nice. It's that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. It is, of course, caption competition. You'll notice, by the way, that we've still got the pink ones. Dan didn't manage to get his hands on them. Oh yes, we've got them here. Yeah, for one more week before, undoubtedly, Lloydie returns and they go. Anyway, we'll start with the results from last week, shall we, Connor?
We will. So the winner is Alderin Castro. Okay, guys, in 5, everyone say welcome to the GCN Show. We might get featured. You never know, you could have been doing that.
Yeah, we probably would have featured them,
We would have.
Although, it's a pretty tough process getting on. So, yeah.
Keep trying.
Keep trying, always keep trying.
Next up.
Anyway, hang a sec. We just need to remind him, like we always do every week, get in touch on Facebook. Weirdly antiquated method, but there you go. And we will get your details so we can send you your bottle. So there we go. Right, Connor, sorry.
Sorry, moving on. I do like these bottles because you can tell if it's water or beer in them. So next week we have Peter Sagan.
We do. Can I get us started this week?
Yeah, you get us started, go on.
Okay. exclusive spy shots revealed the instrument with which Peter Sagan intimidated the peloton.
I mean, it is pretty telling, isn't it? I mean, if you got a fine for intimidation and he's, waltzing around with that in the bunch.
Exactly.
Can you imagine him picking it out of his pocket? Back in the peloton, you. Sorry, I got a bit carried away there.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. Good that we've settled that mystery as well.
It is, yeah. Got to the bottom of it.
Exactly. But anyway, you know the drill by now. And if you don't, I will remind you. Basically, put a witty caption in the comment section down below, and we will pick a winner right here next week. Right, comment of the week now. Connor, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, I'll get us going. And this one has been sent in by Andrew Liu. Manon's taste in hot hatch is impeccable.
Yeah, this is Manon's car on show in car versus e-bike. What's faster on a COVID commute? And I think she likes that car.
Manon's car does get a lot of love by us all. I mean, she drives it pretty impressively as well.
Does she?
She's got some brilliant reversing skills.
Does she?
You need to see the parallel park.
Better than Ollie's reversing skills that we caught a glimpse of on the show last week.
I was going to say, I mean, if anyone needs lessons, he knows where.
Poor old Bridget. Right, broccoli for dinner. Put GCN, when could we expect Bike versus Hank's dad on a Challenger 1 main battle tank? Who will win? Well, funny you mentioned that, actually. That is on the ideas list. So maybe one day you will get Hank versus Tank driven by his dad.
I did see that on the ideas list and I thought, this is a little bit, but anyway, it could be good.
Could be good, yeah. If you've got a tank, get in touch and we'd like to hear from you. Right then, and lastly under that one, Velo DJK, fairly good point this one. A follow-up video could show Manon dealing with vehicle registration, tax, insurance, maintenance, etc. Ollie's main concern would be the 2 minutes he spent pumping up the tyres and lubricating the chain once a fortnight. And yeah, that is something that we missed from there, the running costs.
That's true.
Very true.
Under the hardest stage, which myself and Hank undertook last week.
It was quite hard, that, wasn't it?
It was hard. Harder than I thought until I kind of got into it and then I was like, oh my goodness.
When I got an update midway through the day saying your average speed was 20k an hour, I must say I did have a little chuckle to myself. That's a slow road ride, boys.
It was, but
anyway.
some of the comments were brilliant under the video, so thank you very much for sending them all in. This one's from Andrew Kirk. Brilliant video, and Hank's dad is a classy DS. Comedy when he needed to be, but properly supportive when Connor was struggling.
Which was all of it, wasn't it?
It pretty much was all of it. I mean, bless him, he did a great job of trying to keep me going. He really invested into it. So thanks, Hank's dad.
What a legend. Nick Christie, the intro for Hank's dad was just brilliant. Made me giggle, and I've been ill in hospital for a week. So thanks, guys. Nick, get well soon. I hope you're out of hospital by the time you watch this and on the road to recovery.
Yeah, definitely. And KTL sent this one in. When the shoes hit the road, I went, yes!
Yeah. And then lastly, Frederick Nyland. I thought this one was good. Usually when you guys post a video of an epic ride, I'm like, damn, I want to do that. With this one, not so much.
Kind of was one of those days, if I'm honest, Frederick.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I loved it, looking back. Devon was a fantastic place to ride in, albeit if I went there for enjoyment, I'd have chosen a slightly easier route.
Well, why would you go there for enjoyment? When you can ratchet up the pain, have a great ride, mate.
There we go.
All the best bits.
I'll bring you
next
time.
Yeah, to be fair, mate, I would have loved it. Well, I mean, I say that. I would have hated it, but then I'd have loved it. Isn't it a weird world? Right, what's coming up on the channel?
Okay, so on Wednesday, we have 10 reasons you need to take a break. Then on Thursday, we have the tech show. And on Friday, we have 11 new things you need to know about on Zwift.
That's right. Very interesting, actually, yeah. On Saturday, just what can a gravel bike do? We have given a Pinarello Gravel with Shimano GRX group set to Blake Sampson. And the results are mildly terrifying. So you need to make sure you check that one out on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we've got how are carbon fibre wheels made? So our friends over at GCN en Francais went to check out the Corrimer factory and they've produced a video for us, which is awesome. So do make sure you check that one out as well. And GCN Plus, of course, Connor mentioned earlier on the rise of the e-bike. We also have High Stakes as well. Sorry, I just need to check my notes, which is an awesome film. Quite a moving film, actually, about a free rider called Grant Chopper Fielder and his rise and fall and then subsequent rise again. But the stress and pressure those guys face, unbelievable. And actually, when you watch Extreme Corner, you'll kind of understand why.
Okay then, time for Extreme Corner. Now this is extreme. This is from Darkfest in South Africa. Pretty impressive skills on a bicycle.
Oh my word. Absolutely bananas.
Oh my goodness. That makes my bunny hop off the pavement on the way here a little bit, well, dweeby.
Tame?
If I'm honest. Tame.
Yeah, and it was only because of that video that it looked dweeby.
Yeah, it was. I mean, otherwise, you know.
Anyway, absolutely fair play. And thank you very much, Darkfest, for the clip. Bonkers. Right, that brings us to quite an adrenaline-filled finale, an end to the GCN show for this week. Thank you very much for watching, as always. Do get involved in the comments section. Let us know your thoughts on pleasure versus pain. A lot of pleasure, not much pain in Darkfest, I'd imagine, until you stack it, in which case there's a lot of pain and not good stuff.
I know, yeah, I think that's all pain, to be honest, if you mess up one of those jumps.
I think it is, isn't it? But anyway, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.